second episode starts at 6 p.m. Yes, when things fall apart. Just a general talk, comment, and a time for us to set aside. All right, YT, I don't know if they're gonna let me do this, but I'm gonna play a couple seconds of the intro to When Things Fall Apart. So hold on. There are words. So this will be the first time we got the lyrics out. So here goes. I remember when the storms were turning in and migraines seemed to win. But pressure rises too. My world was black and blue. It's when things fall apart. It shattered my heart. I called on my spirit within to build me again. That's why I'm singing to you. Wipe your tears, stand tall in your fears, and take one step till courage shows you you are the best. Our doubt won't win. Let the joy and peace come in. There's no need to wait. We deserve this space. And when things fell apart, it shattered my heart. But I called on my spirit within to build me again. And that's why I'm singing to you. Call it in. Just begin. No matter what we see, can't break that destiny. We hold the key. When things fall apart, it shattered my heart. But I called on my spirit within to build me again. And that's why I'm singing to you. So, yes, NYT, in case this gets recorded, this is a song created on Suno by Bonek Nurse, which is myself. So I am playing my own music. And I'll make sure to put that in the guide. So, the wonderful thing about having a space where we are reminded that when things fall apart, it's not the end of the world. I think there's a lot of situations where people lose hope. They think that the situation that they're in is always going to last. It's always going to be this way. They don't believe that the season's going to be over. And it's in that time where sometimes people isolate, sometimes pick up habits, things to do to cope with it, right? And so the thing is that what we have a space where it's like I know what happens when things fall apart because anytime you live life and if nothing has fallen apart for you, then I am so happy for you. I think at some point in time we all get to feel that. Right. And so, even if you don't feel like anything's happening right now, this is still a way to uplift and prepare yourself. This is still a way for you to go within and find that strength to say, I can make it. I will make it. Of course, I'm very big on what you speak over yourself. Right. And so, I don't like the term, and here in Florida, it's been raining. Right. And so, what do they say? When it rains, it pours. When it's one thing, it's another thing. Well, when you say those things, even if that is happening, you're bringing out that energy where it's just going to continue. So you're already living what you're going through, right? And it's Memorial Day weekend, and it reminds me of my cousin. So shout out to Sergeant Richard Jordan, who gave his life in 2010. And in him giving his life in most of Iraq, it reminded me of the fact that we all go through different griefs. And when you're grieving, it could feel like even if you have a job, you have money, you have cars, you have shelter, you have everything you need. Jordan, if you're here, then I'm talking to you. Definitely. So if you're going through these different things and you're in a grief source, right? That means that the things that you're going through, the environment that you're having, you're feeling this big grief. So what do you do? What do you do with that grief? What do you do with the sadness of feeling like everything's falling apart? Maybe you feel misunderstood. Maybe it's one thing after another. And that's where you have to release that you won't get back up, right? Because if we're focusing on everything's falling apart, we're down, you're, starting over, starting from scratch, we'll have different perspectives. It's like, okay, well, now we can look up. If you feel that everything's falling apart and you're rebuilding what you have, you're rebuilding your life, you're rebuilding, then that means you only have up from there. And then if you put yourself in this, I love this word called paranoia, right? A lot of times people think paranoid. This is the opposite of paranoid. So if you're always thinking, when is the next thing happening? When is the next tree going to fall down? When is the next lightning going to strike? But instead, speaking over myself, I am in a state of paranoia, which means that the universe is working for my good, right? The universe is working for my good. Not only is it working for my good, but I am a factor. My thoughts become things. So I am a factor in this process. And I'm not telling you to ignore how you feel. I'm not telling you to be delusional and not be in it. So it's about the fact of, listen, I'm going through this situation. I feel like I am losing or have lost everything. So if you knew that everything that was taken would be replaced by something better, even if it's somewhat different, would you think the same of it? Because we all know that when something is holding space, that thing is holding space. Most of the time, if you try to put objects on top of each other, I don't know what my hair is doing, but if you try to put objects on top of each other, what happens? It falls because it's not on a good foundation. So instead of stacking problems on top of problems and then feeling like they fall on you, take it each task, each day as I am going to look within, find the strength. Not only am I going to look within and find the strength, but then I'm going to figure out what is it that I can do to make myself better, to believe that I can do it. And that's why we have When Things Fall Apart every Sunday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time for around 30 minutes. Because I have had so many things that have fallen apart throughout the years. And yes, I had different ways to cope with it, but it would have been nice, right? And I'm pretty sure there were, right? But I wasn't seeking them out. That wasn't the intention. So my intention is that if you come into Poetic Nurse's room on Sundays at 6 p.m., it's a place to remind you that you are special, that you matter, that there's something inside of you that has the capacity not only to defeat the obstacle with victory, but to also be in alignment with who you are, not only who you are, but also what you are becoming. And a lot of times in this space, it feels like everything's crashing. You're taking account, it could be financials, everything's looking negative. It could be emotional breakups, um, people, passing away. There's a lot of different reasons why we feel like things have fallen apart. And I think it's really interesting because as positive as I am intentionally to be, as I bring it in, it doesn't negate the fact. So I always want to first bring up one of the first tools that I feel are the greatest, besides listening to someone, or maybe you don't want to tell someone what you're going through, but it's to be grateful. When I tell you, gratitude literally comes in to those voided spots, comes into the doubt, comes into all types of the way you feel, and it goes, it's almost like a massage, right? It takes that tense, it takes that tension, it takes the resistance, it takes the tightness, and it begins to make it softer. Softer, and we can even say to digest. When life is lifing, there's some things that are out of your control, and there are some things that are in your control. And what's in your control is you being able to, you being able to decide, you know what, I'm going to get over. I'm going to keep going. And it's that part of you that the solitude and, you know, going to different vices and is in that essence. So, and I promise people don't call until you go live. But, anyways, I think that it's really a time for those grieving. And it doesn't mean that you're grieving on Memorial Day. You could be grieving your life. You could be grieving what you thought life was going to be. You could be grieving friendships, relationships. We all have different griefs. You could be grieving being laid off. You could be grieving not having or not knowing where the next thing for your needs are going to come from. But what I can tell you is when you stand in the presence of now and you're like, you know what? I'm grateful. I'm grateful that I have today. I'm grateful that I woke up today. I'm grateful that I'm not the person that has more than me and issues and problems, and I have great health and I'm going towards this, right? It's not like we're happy that they're going through it, but we all know that there's always someone that is worse off than you. And so if I don't know what to be grateful for, and I'm just going through my senses, and I'm just going through the fact that it hasn't gotten any worse, what type of energy do you think that's going to bring you into? Well, I'll tell you. It brings you into an energy of appreciation. It brings you into a space that's calmer, because we have all of these things going on in our body. And I won't pretend to know all. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a doctor. I'm not giving you any type of directions on what to do. But there's different tools that you can use. And gratitude is one that's for free. It's one that you can listen to. It's one that you can say. It's one that you can write. You can listen to it in songs. And it's important for you to be able to do things that calm you down. Because when we're in flight and fright and we're panicking and we're upset and we're worried, what do you think that does to your body? What do you think that does to your mind? If you know, even if you don't know the exact things that it's causing, you know it doesn't feel good. And so I'm a believer that nothing happens by chance. I'm a believer that there's no coincidences, right? So if you pass in this life, I want the intention for you to know that you're going to make it. You have the resilience, you have the grit. You're going to find the solution. Sometimes it's in a moment that this too shall pass. What decisions are you making? Are you making the best choices about you? Are you thinking about you? Are you saying no when it's needed? Where can you start? And if you don't know where to start, then what's the next step? Because we want to move forward. And sometimes even in the still, right? You could be still. You could be at a moment where it's like, okay, you know what? I'm going to really get myself in a place where I'm in control of my direction. That's your free will. So when you decide, you know what, everything is fall apart, it's all falling apart, but I'm still together, right? I still have my mind. I'm still able to get on my phone. I'm still able to get on the internet. If you're tired, play it while you're sleeping. Again, I'm not a doctor. These are just suggestions of ways to break into your subconscious, right? Break into that thing that's causing you to make these daily choices, daily patterns that aren't serving you, right? Because again, I'm not blaming you. I don't know what exactly happened that made things fall apart. I am not saying that it's your fault. I'm not even saying that it's fair. But I am saying that you have the power to turn it around. You have the power to look at it differently. You have the power to go through the muck of it all and figure out what can you pull out of being grateful. You think to me, what can I pull out to being grateful about a liar? Okay, what if you didn't know if they were a liar? Once you found out that that person is a liar and now you know, you're grateful that you now know that person's character and you can move accordingly. Why am I grateful that this was taken away from me? I might not be grateful, but I am grateful in the future because you can have grateful future. I'm grateful in the future what's going to show up that I didn't know that I'm now going towards that because I don't have this. I'm grateful for my peace. I'm grateful for my joy. I'm grateful for the love that I feel. I'm grateful for caring. If you don't feel like you're getting those things, just you're saying that you're grateful for them, it transmits this energy out and it comes back to you. And when that energy comes back to you, what do you think it's going to build up? More good energy. So no matter how long I'm staying down, as I pour into myself, as I think, you know what? Okay. I mean, I seen this person, I looked up this person, and you know what? They lost everything and look, started again, and now look what they have. I really don't know a person who's successful who just says that nothing ever happened. And even if nothing ever happened in their business, it happened in their life. And if it didn't happen in their life, then it happened into their business because something happens to all of us. And we don't always say what it is. We don't always describe it. Sometimes we don't know what is the thing because so many things have happened that has me in this situation. I'm looking at all these things that are broken and destroyed, all these things that I've had to give up that I no longer have, all these people that I knew who aren't here now. Maybe all of those things was to press you, to press the diamond out, to refine you into who you truly are, for you to know if all of the things that happened to me didn't happen to me, I could not sit here at 6:15 p.m. and be like, I'm a strong person. I would be like, everything is rainbows and unicorns and butterflies. Now, keep in mind, I feel that way. But I feel that way because I put myself in that state. I know there's other things going on. I know there's a lot of people hurting. I know there's a lot of people giving up. I know things are getting harder. And it may seem like, well, what are your words going to do? My words, if they are received, by telling you that you will have victory over it, that it will be turned to good because you've stated it, because your thoughts have it, because you put actions towards it, that something will become. Even if you think about it, you plant, we talk about this all the time. We're planting. Every plant doesn't grow the same, don't need the same things. And you're the same way. Well, now I'm so sorry that you lost your wife last year. And that's what I'm talking about today, too, is grief, right? That place of grief that we're in, and no one can tell you how you feel. They can't tell you when that's going to change. But what I can say is you can come here every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we can hear words that we are going to listen to, that we're going to repeat to ourselves, right? That says, I am feeling this, I'm in this pain, I'm in this loss. I recognize it, and I'm still going to figure out how can I be grateful in this day to bring it and elevate it for myself, right? And now I don't know, how can I say, when you'll be in that space. But what I can tell you is that when you're intentional, when you talk about it, when you find support in the way that you need to, those things become, I'm not saying easier to feel, but maybe easier to understand for yourself. And even sometimes when we don't understand, just someone listening and caring, and if you're still here, Linnell, please put her name in the chat. I'll be glad to say it. Because I feel like in us grieving, I always say Sergeant Richard Jordan. And I have his name tattooed in butterfly on my arm, right? Because I keep him close to me, and I have since he passed in 2010. Because they say, and I don't have those cliches says it, I'm not saying that time doesn't, but there's some years, Memorial Day, I'm good. And then it's some days on Memorial Day and it are years and it hits me like a truck. So I stopped thinking I'm over. And I just started dealing with me and my cousin or anyone that I was close to that's passed away, that our relationship is different now. When I see orange butterflies outside, I call my grandmother's name. And when I see birds, I think of my cousin. And there's all these little things where I see remnants of their energy. And if you're not into energy, I understand that too. Right? So it could be looking at pictures, it could be thinking about the positive things, it could be setting the date. Instead of thinking about the day they're no longer here, setting the date for you to go out as if they were with you, walk in the park, sit and think of them, put a penny in the wish well, just something to attribute your connection. And so, in that, we're realizing that grief takes a hold. It looks like ways in so many different varieties to us. And I think that when things fall apart, and you feel like it's everything falling apart, you only have mm, so much that you feel mentally you can take before you break. And that's where I want you to get yourself. I suggest, again, not a doctor, not a scientist, but I do know a lot about getting through things. Think of yourself as a palm tree. I love palm trees, they're my favorite. But I remember one day being at a hotel, it was during a hurricane, and because of the way we were like cemented and in the back, I was able to open the window without them busting out. And I remember seeing a palm tree touch the ground. So it was up. Wind came so strong it touched the ground. But after the storm, that next day and a half, I saw that tree right there, being right there. And I thought to myself, I'm like that palm tree. You can bend me, you can move me back away, you could try to think that I'll be delayed and all these different things. But at the end of the day, I'm going to stand back up when the storm is over. And not only am I going to stand back up different than before, but better than before because I've been through something and I made it. And so I offer you also going back into that time, that last time where you was really like, okay, I'm at the end. I am done. I'm over it. And you held on and things changed and you don't even think about that time anymore because it's so far in your past that it doesn't matter. So a lot of times we let our mind take us to sickness, heartbreak, stress, you know? I mean, think about the things that we worry about that haven't even happened yet. Already things are happening, but then we're worrying about things that haven't even happened yet. And I want you to believe. I can't make you believe, but I want you to believe. I want you to believe in yourself. I want you to believe that you can make it. I want you to believe that everything you want, it will happen. I can't tell you when. I can't tell you how. But I do have the question, and I won't say but, I'll say however. I do have the question. However, if you're not believing, then how's it going to happen? If you think that it will never happen, then it won't. If you think you're not good enough, then you won't be good enough. So, taking away the outside noises, taking away anyone saying, anyone's looking, anyone's observing, assumptions, take all that away. Just you with you, just one on one. And you want to say, what? Not talking to yourself hard, loving yourself with compassion, right? So, I was eating fast food like months ago, like all the time. And I'm like, this isn't healthy. I need to get, you know. And now that I'm eating healthier, it's like I realize this is a choice. I could go back to eating fast food at any time. But are my choices aligned to where and what I'm going through? Right? So m- that's where I have the choice of thought. I'm going to bring it always back to our thinking. So go back to our thoughts. So as I go back to our thoughts, okay, I understand that negativity causes these different things. So if I'm thinking negative about myself, that means that it's going to equal negative actions, behaviors. I move real slow now. And I don't mean in a healthy, bad way. I mean, I just realized that one decision, one choice can pivot, change, and alter my direction. So for the very first time in life, I come in and say, okay, I rebuilt this, I rebuilt that. Even though I rebuilt that, it was taken. So I gotta come back down and build it back up again, right? And so you have this strength inside of you that says, I'm going to be my own hero, period. I'm going to be my own hero. I'm going to love myself. I'm going to take care of myself. And I'm going to do a damn good job of it. and I'm going to try every angle until I get in. And then once I get in, I'm going to do every step that I can. And I'm going to believe without a doubt that it will happen. I'm going to be unmovable and unshakable that this will be the last time, right? This will be the last time that I am going to take a challenge in this defeating way. And I'm telling you, my mindset is like, okay, I can walk, I can walk. If I can jog, I can jog. I don't do much running. If I'm running, you should run too. but but I think if I'm on my knees, I would crawl. If I couldn't crawl, I would roll there. I'm gonna find a way. It sets me in a determination, right? And so that determination is also gotta be how I'm gonna deal with this grief because I can't let it destroy me. I'm still here. How would that person want me to be? How would they want me to feel? How would they want me to move on or love on them or respect on them while they're not here? If I never had the conversation, then I would be thinking about them and their character and who they were and what would they be saying? And I might not do all the things that I used to do before that grief, but let me start doing one thing and see how I can stick with that and then I can move on and because it's a process, but if you don't start the process, if you stay in one stage of grief, then you will be there. And so, again, I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist, but I do offer to ask you how much willingness do you have to come in to listening and telling your things that will support you and getting those things that fell apart replaced, fixed, back together. And if they can't go back the same way, or it's no longer there, or it's no longer available in the same way, how, since I am one with the universe, universal law, right? Since I am one with the universe and this thing is one with me, how are we going to exchange so I can build? So I can build something, so I can remove this pain and build something that's going to be satisfying and a reference to the person I'm having grief about. It seems like a lot. And that's why I say keep coming here Sundays, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Poetic Nurse. And let's keep focusing on our thoughts. And I want to leave you with just a few gratitudes. I'm grateful for everyone coming in, grateful for you, Lanelle. Grateful for those who chatted in the comments. Thank you for the likes. Please go ahead and subscribe. I'm here every Sunday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I want you to be reminded during the week that if you're telling yourself I'm tired, to tell yourself I'm strong, I'm capable, I have the energy. If you feel like there's no way to turn, tell yourself I see the way to turn, I see the direction, I see where I'm going. Speak it over you because we already know that accepting or not speaking the positive things over you, you see how you're feeling. So I say try it. If it's nothing else than trying something different than what you already have going on. So, with that, I want to thank you for being here with me. We went like 4 minutes over, but it's definitely blessings, and I will see you guys soon.